Why am I heavily shipping Olivia Munn and James Marsden's characters?
Jon Hamm is a showstopper. Can the rest of this cast match his game?
Red and Red Real Reviews lives a lavish life of crime with your friends and neighbors, Season 2 on Apple TV. I knew within the first 5 minutes I was going to hate it, but then it was so bad. Ugh.
Nobody wants this?
Literally nobody wants this.
Internet's going to get mad at me for this one. There's no fat elf.
Duty, which I can't say without laughing. Duty, like I'm English.
John B and Sarah I don't want to sound like a loser for saying this, but they're adorable. I'll admit it.
Welcome back to another episode of Red and Red Real Reviews. So today we're adding yet another show to the Season 2 club. This is one, though, we have not covered. We did not review Season 1. We watched it on our own time. I told Nutmeg about it. I told him to watch it. He did. So it's Your Friends and Neighbors on Apple TV. Before we get into it, though, let us know what you think of the podcast as a whole or a possible show we should have on our radar to cover by emailing us at redandredrealreviews@gmail.com and following us on Instagram, Red and Red Real Reviews. That's the letter N, real spelled with 2 E's. So, since this isn't a new show, Apple TV was a little bit stingy. They only dropped one episode, but it was about 58 minutes, just under an hour. So not a bad deal in my eyes. So instead of doing a recap from Season 1, like most shows do, they do a little three-minute flashing scenes from the previous season or what happened in the last episode of the previous season. They really sort of jumped right into it with Coop, who is Jon Hamm's character, if you've been living under a rock. So it was done in a way where you didn't really get that unnatural, lazy thing that TV writers do to try to explain things that the viewers didn't watch. Like they try to be like, oh, well, you're my cousin. So you like just that lazy exposition to try to get background information out there. So I thought that the way that they did it fits in with the style of the show, how it's a little bit stylized, how it's narrated from Coop's point of view, like a first person point of view. So I liked the way that they did that. They just jumped right into it and then said, like, this is how we got here, and sort of explained it in a unlazy way, if you will. So in the trailer, I was just watching back after I'd watched the first episode, because obviously I've been watching the trailers for these things just so I don't spoil anything that the trailer doesn't cover. So you see Coop out and about in the trailer, so you know he's not in prison. We see Sam is not in prison either. We just don't know how they both got out of that one. And you do get an explanation in the first 10 minutes of the first episode. And we'll talk about it a little bit more with the verdict, but I kind of feel like after seeing the trailer, I kind of think it was poorly put together because it just gives too much away in my opinion. And so you know what happens in Season 2, it's just you don't know how it got to that point. So we'll talk about it later, but you watched the first season somewhat recently. I don't know how long ago you finished it, but it was probably within the past few months, I think. So how did you feel going into this second season?
Well, I had started it when it came out, but the show didn't hook me right away, so I kind of left it by the wayside and then just came back around to it towards the end of the year or so. I didn't think the trailer got spoiled. I mean, Coop was exonerated from the murder trial at the end of Season 1, so it wasn't really a surprise that he was free and
Not
doing his
that it
thing.
was something else having to do with James Marsden that they really spoiled, I thought.
Oh,
But we could talk about.
to me, the James Marsden stuff was just he was in it. So I was like, oh, okay, James Marsden's in this. That's cool.
Oh no, they gave a lot away. I'll get into that since I'm not spoiling it if it's in the trailer, but they gave a lot away.
No, I felt that was a little bit more veiled. Like it's the idea I got from it was that he was the antagonist, and I mean, obviously, we'll talk about that later whether that's true or
Yeah.
not. But that was the feeling I got from it, but like to me, that's not spoiling anything. It's just James Marsden is in it, and he's going to play a big role.
Mm, yeah. Um, so I think we're both I'll say we're decent fans of Jon Hamm overall. I've heard some shady stuff about his in real life behavior, so in the past year or two. So that kind of changes my opinion towards him a little bit. Do I think he's a good actor on screen? Do I think he's good in this show? Yeah, I think he's a good fit for this show. But yeah, I think your feelings about the show as I told you to watch it and you're kind of on the side responding to me like, "Oh, I thought that about this." You're kind of in it for Jon Hamm for the most part. So is that really like what drove you to you say you kind of put it on the back burner?
Well,
Is that what
yeah, they
what drove you
don't
to pick it back up again?
don't pat yourself on the back too much. I wasn't living under a rock with this show.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, my appeal to this show is pretty much entirely Jon Hamm. I really don't think he's ever done anything bad in his career. I
Mm.
really I'll fully admit I've never really dived into his most signature role as Don Draper in Mad Men. Uh, but I also wanted to give this a second chance to come back around to it to see if it was something more than Jon Hamm, because to me, season one would have been nothing to write home about without him. Like I think he very much carried season one on his back.
Well, I think because he was the biggest name, and you have Amanda Peet, who's a decent name, but I think she was sort of I don't know, she kind of stepped away from acting for a period of time. So I would say he's definitely the biggest name in this. I do like the fact, and I think I was drawn to the first season because I have seen Mad Men. I've seen the entire thing. I mean, it has its good and bad points. Like when it was good, it was really good and it was like legendary TV. When it was bad, it was kind of meh. But I do think that the character of Don Draper is completely different than the character of Coop. And I had to I think they said it in the first episode. They
Draper
said
Light.
it no, I mean it's totally different in my eyes. But I think it's a testament to the fact that Jon Hamm can play more than just Don Draper. Like he shouldn't be typecast in this stuff.
No, my first exposure to Jon Hamm was in the town. So this take no shit federal law enforcement guy.
I don't even remember him in that. Like I remember that movie being good. That's with Ben Affleck and Blake
Yeah.
Lively was in it too, right? Like I
Yeah.
remember that movie, but like I don't remember much about it.
Oh, you should rewatch that.
I did
Good
not know
old
he was in
Boston
that.
crime. Good old Boston crime.
So, speaking of Jon Hamm, what was your one thing or what would be your one reason for people to watch season 2 of Your Friends and Neighbors?
Well, so like I just said, I guess I kind of teased that a little bit already. So season one to me, it was Jon Hamm and not much else.
Mm,
There wasn't I didn't feel like there was a whole lot compelling about his friends, even though there was a very broad ensemble of that. But none of them really hooked me a ton in season one. The only one that kind of felt like there was a substantial tie to him was his sister Allie, who's
mm,
this roller coaster of a journey in her own right, coming back from either constant life failures or maybe she was an addict or, that's not necessarily given right away. But I kind
mm.
of wanted to see if the supporting cast in this would kind of give a little bit more fluff around Coop. as opposed to it just being Coop and everyone being dragged along by the wayside. I like Elena's character. I felt like she was kind of an afterthought in season one. When they jump right back into it with Coop and Elena's hijinks. And I kept like looking at her thinking to myself, gosh, she looks like Anna de Armas, but I know it's not her.
Oh, no, definitely
Yeah.
not.
So they kind of jump right back. It's like Timu Anna de Armas or something. So they kind of jump right back into that, getting into the heists. And there's a depth added to Barney's character, and
Mm.
that's Coop's best friend, financial advisor of sorts, which is weird because Coop's background is in finance. Why would a finance guy need a financial advisor? But anyway, where season one he kind of felt more like a lovable loser.
Mm.
Um, Nick kind of being removed from this negative aura of sleeping with Coop's wife. Now it kind of feels like they're buddy buddy again. So there's kind of likable energy coming back to Nick. And then of course Amanda Pete's character Mel, Coop's now
Mm.
ex-wife. And I kind of got the impression from season one that they were going to be back on good terms, get back together,
Mm.
that sort of thing. And that doesn't seem to be the case here. That's this co-parenting thing that seems to have another level of depth, that might have another level of depth as the season goes along.
Yeah, I think there's a really good supporting cast here, and I thought the same in season one. I think Amanda Peet and Jon Hamm have really good chemistry, and I think they're gonna just tease the fact that it's complicated between them. Like there are feelings there, they're co-parenting the best they can. In the first episode, she's sort of trying to be like his wing woman, and he's like, "What are you doing?" And she's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
I can do this." Like so yeah, there is like a an awkward thing where they're not really sure what's going on and like they're not really sure how to proceed. They just kind of take it day by day. But I think they have really great chemistry. And I also you mentioned the fact that there's not a whole lot to his friends. And I think that's by design. I think it's kind of centering around the whole name of the show, right? Your friends and neighbors. Like I I think it's just kind of poking fun at the fact that your friends are supposed to be the closest people to you. Your neighbors are supposed to be the closest people to you in proximity, but also in sentiment. So, you have Coop stealing from his neighbors, stealing from his so-called friends, things like that. So I think there's something to be said about the name of the show and why it's called that and what that means in relation to the people that Coop surrounds himself with. Like, are they really great friends? Like, is Nick that great of a friend? If like, yeah, he's not sleeping with your
Banged
wife
his wife.
currently, but he was. And then like I think it's also showing that Barney may be a true friend in this facade of like everyone's rich and it's this beautiful neighborhood. Like they're friends, but are they really friends? Like, are they going to be with you when it gets bad, um when you have the finger pointed at you for murder? Like are these the people that are going to stick around and do things in your best interest? And that's why I'm interested in these couple side characters like Barney. The actor's name is Hoon Lee. He's from Banshee, so I've seen him before. Banshee is a really, really good show that not many people know about, and I think I might have spoken about it before. I don't know in what context or who I was talking about from Banshee, but he was really, really good in that show. So people should go back and watch that if they have access to it. I don't remember what channel it was on. But then you also have Lena Hall, who plays Allie, and then you have Amy Carrero, who plays Elena. And Amy Carrero, I know her from this really kind of cheesy but fun family channel sitcom called Young and Hungry, where she plays this like spicy Latina girl, but she's like very non-serious. So I like the fact I in the first season, I was like, that can't be Sophia from Young and Hungry. I'm like, on a show with Jon Hamm? playing opposite Jon Hamm in like a drama. Like, what? So she's really up the ante with
Well, sh
this.
well, she is spicy, and I'm all here for it.
Yeah, I think she's gorgeous. Like, I think she's really, really pretty. And like you mentioned, you thought it was Ana de Armas. Like, she's really, really pretty. And I think, I don't know, the fact that she goes toe to toe with Jon Hamm, and then like in the first season, like you could almost feel like chemistry with them. You could almost feel like, are they or aren't they? Like, is there something here more than this like little heist relationship?
Yeah, I'll save it till the end, but I do have some thoughts about Jon Hamm's token profession in this, or Coop's token profession in this, I should say. Barney
Yeah.
to me also felt like the good angel
Mm-hmm.
on Coop's shoulder in season
Yeah.
one. And I mean, I don't want to spoil it for, but it kind of seems like maybe that's not going to be the case so much throughout season two.
Yeah. Yeah, it's possible. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to where Elena and Barney's characters go. Um, so kind of moving on to my thing, which is focusing on a different actor and a different character. So my reason to watch is for the new character, Owen Ash, who of course is played by James Marsden, who we love. And it's not like James Marsden couldn't tackle more serious drama if he tried. You know, we really liked him in Paradise and we wish he was in it more. And they did bring him back for some flashbacks in season two, but it still just like wasn't enough James Marsden for all of us, I feel like. But I do sort of feel like, I don't know him personally, obviously, but I do sort of feel like, similar to someone like Owen Wilson, that he sort of plays himself in some roles. And that I just get the impression that in real life, he's a very charismatic guy, and that the roles he plays seem to contain like a moderate amount of that charisma. So to me, the reason to watch is because, like, what's better than a charismatic guy who's who's like and looks like James Marsden? Not much, but then throw in a charismatic guy like James Marsden who is rich as hell. It gets more interesting. And then, we kind of get a little taste of what Ash is like. He says, "Call me Ash." He introduces himself as Owen, but he says, "Call me Ash." So
Ash is
he's
way cooler. Ash is way
it
cooler name.
is. It's way cooler, let's be honest here. But he's kind of bold, brazen, like he doesn't want to follow the crowd. He's a leader. He's not a follower. And he goes after what he wants. He gets in there. He's an aggressive businessman. We see a little bit of that so far. We know that he's rich as hell. And I'm intrigued to see where his character goes and what we find out about him and his past. Like, he's the new kid on the block. So what is he hiding? What is he all about? And I'm also sort of shipping, as the kids say, for him to get with Sam. And I did see a little bit in the trailer, like I saw like them going to hold hands or something like that. So I'm like, okay, I'm wondering if maybe they're going to develop a little relationship with Sam, who is Olivia Munn's character. And a bonus thing to watch, I really tried not to like her from the beginning, like from season one, but
Why?
I hate to say it, I actually really like Olivia Munn in this show. I don't know why. So the reason I didn't want to like her is because I think I know what she's like in real life. And like, there's this, the whole thing with John Mulaney was like sketchy, where like he left his wife for her. Like, she's kind of a homewrecker. I don't
Kind of
know.
back to our topic of old. You got to separate reality from cinema.
I can't when I know too much about like celebrity gossip, but no, I find her character to be really redeeming, and there's just something about her character that I really latch onto, and I don't know why. So uh TLDR, I'm excited about James Marsden. It's a bonus for me if there is a potential relationship between Ash and Sam.
ELDR.
You know
I
what it,
never know what that stood for. Too low on the down low or something. I don't know.
no, no, you don't know what that stands for?
Probably not.
I think it's too long didn't read. Well, I
Oh,
mean, for our purposes,
attention span.
it'd be like TLDL, too long didn't listen, or TLDW, too long didn't watch. So
Yeah,
if you didn't watch that last 5 minutes of me gushing about James Marsden, in summary,
yeah.
I'm watching it for him, and I'm kind of watching it for Olivia Munn to get together with him.
I mean, it's two very pretty people to
Yeah.
get together, so it's hard to it's hard to not root for that just from an aesthetic standpoint. Like I said before, I could have sworn Ash was going to be the bad guy here. And he could still fit the bill because he's got that new guy in town, lots of money behind him, trying to throw his weight around a lot. But he also trying to feels like he's just trying to fit in with the gang. You know, throws this big party. He tries to insert himself with all the known friends' own personal ventures. So it kind of seems like he's also trying to be one of the gang. Now maybe that's by design. He's kind of a blow it up from the inside type of antagonist, but at least it doesn't feel necessarily like he's going to be the traditional type of antagonist.
So the thing that I was referring to in the trailer that I think blows it open for everybody, which I didn't think it was a good decision by Apple to do that, but what the trailer looks like it reveals is that at some point, Coop is caught red-handed stealing something from Ash's house, and then in return Ash blackmails him and says, you have to do this for me or else I'm going to blow open your whole scheme of, like, I know you stole from me. Basically, I don't know how. So we don't know how this happens, but we know what happens. And that's what I was kind of pissed about. I'm like, why would you reveal that much? Like, why don't you just be like, hey, we have James Marsden in this season. And then like, why would you give away the fact that he's gonna blackmail Coop?
The reason that doesn't bother me is because based on the way season one went, I would expect Coop to wind up in hot water again in some capacity. So and then the assumption that James Marsden has some kind of antagonistical element about him, that doesn't upset me because that's what I would expect just from the core elements of the show coming together.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest here. We know Coop makes a lot of bad decisions, and he's trying to keep up appearances. He's trying to keep up this lifestyle, and he'll do what he needs to do. He's not a very smart criminal, but I think that does make it interesting for James Marsden to be an antagonist when he's ageless and is that good looking, and the fact that he's like rich and he's a businessman. So like we see in the trailer him cornering Coop at like his little office. You know how he says he has an office just for appearances.
Yeah,
So it shows like James Marsden spinning around in his chair, and like he's definitely on to the fact that this is all a farce
yeah.
that Coop is running.
Well, I like seeing James Marsden in these kind of roles because my first exposure was Cyclops and X-Men.
Mm.
So to see him do roles like this, and even in a posthumous way in Paradise, uh, it's nice to see him as more roles that aren't just superheroes and dopey rom-coms.
Yeah, I agree. I like seeing him in drama, and like this is kind of a drama, this is kind of not, but I like the fact that his character definitely seems very smart, and that's
Yes.
why it seems that he's able to blackmail and able to come up with, or he sees what's going on and he's able to make it go in his favor because he's smart enough to do that. All right, so let's get to it. Should everyone watch season 2 of Your Friends and Neighbors? Render the verdict.
I like this show. I don't know whether, to me, there's not as much, at least coming in off of season one, as much as you got out of it as far as
Mm,
selling it up. But I still enjoy it enough to keep it going. Uh, but to me, and to dial back to what you said a minute ago about the kind of um, Coop's ability as a criminal, a lot
mm,
of what's appealing about this show to me is the humor. This is it. His gang is a comedy of errors. Nothing
yep.
ever goes right.
Mm-hmm.
Coop, I have a hard time buying Coop as a successful crime lord of sorts because whenever you see him in a heist, it never goes right. It always blows up in his face.
Yeah, there was that line in the first episode, something about like, the first little chunk was about him and his ex-wife Mel co-parenting, and then it was, kind of like this is what's going on in the present. Everything seems to be going pretty well. And then I think he makes I don't remember, I'm just paraphrasing, but he says something like, and then there's that inevitable kick in the balls,
Yeah,
So he's definitely alluding to, in his narration, he's alluding to the fact that shit's about to go down and get
yeah,
complicated.
yeah. And I would continue this because, like we already talked on. I don't think Coop will be framed for murder again,
Yeah.
but there's gonna be that would be a little repetitive, but some kind of, no pun intended, trial for him to work through, I would completely expect to happen again because that is the kind of name of the game where Coop gets his foot in his mouth or stuck in hot water,
Mm-hmm.
and something's not going to work out to his own detriment.
Yeah. And we know that things are not going to work out for him, so it makes it interesting, but it's not in like a everything bad happens to this guy kind of way. Like it's not like, I famously said that I absolutely hate the movie Christmas Vacation because anything that could go wrong does go wrong, and I get like anxious and stressed out by that. Like I don't feel that about this show. And that's obviously for me why I'm going to continue watching it. I really enjoy this show. I don't know what it is about it. To me, it has everything. Like it's dramatic, it's funny like you mentioned, it's scandalous. Like what more could you really want in a show? It's kind of like everything in a nice tidy little package. And I already thought the cast was strong, but when they're adding in James Marsden, it's just a no-brainer. Like I love James Marsden. I will go to bat for him. But yeah, I just wish they didn't, expose so much of like what the plot of season 2 is going to be with the trailer. I just thought they should have left
Mm,
a little more on the table.
I didn't get much out of the trailer besides Coop is back and welcome James Marsden.
I wish I had only gotten that much out of it, but I was like, oh, damn, you guys are telling us exactly what happens, just not how we got there. Like you guys are telling us point C, but not how we got through, what happened at point A and what happened at point B. Like, come on, like, why you gotta spill the beans?
It's about the journey, not the destination.
That's very wise words. And we hope you think this podcast is more about the journey and not the destination. So if you enjoy listening to our show, we would appreciate it if you gave us a 5-star review. Let us know what you think of each episode. Also, be sure to hit that follow or subscribe button so you know when new episodes release. Next up, we're watching season 5 of The Boys. And well, this is the first 2 episodes of season 5, rather. We're not watching the whole damn thing, rather. But in case you missed it, this is the final season of the show. So I don't know. This is one of those like shows I've watched with my husband and that we've enjoyed, and I've liked it in the past, but there have been some things about it that I have not loved. So I guess you'll be able to tune in to get our honest opinions of if that last season will truly be worth watching. And I know you recently watched this show so that we could cover season 5. So
Caught up, caught up.
you caught up. Yeah, you had to catch up, which was quite some catch up. It's a good thing the seasons are only what, 8 to 10 episodes long.
It's a good thing I'd already watched 2 seasons before, so it wasn't the entire
Oh,
thing to catch up.
nice. Okay, so you're ready for season 5. So
Oh yeah.
until that next real review, Red and Red signing out.